Because nowadays the newspaper, the internet almost says that which prime minister are corrupt, how many billion, right? Yeah, so we hope that this problem will not be in our country. Because now the teenagers almost in front of the computer and using the internet, right? The newspaper is lesser people will see about the newspaper.
Not to say not interested at all, because daripada situ juga kita boleh tahu perkembangan Malaysia ni kan, apa yang jadi, apa yang tak jadilah. Mostly is from TVs, radios, and sometimes papers, newspaper and internet lah. FB lah sekarang ni kan, sekarang ada banyak FB. Banyak jugalah, diorang masing-masing orang kata voice out lah yang diorang rasa bagus lah, macam tu.
Kalau katakan Facebook, Twitter ni is just a part of entertainment. Bukan kata fully of your life. Sometimes setengah orang dia hanya memainkan peranan tu dalam Twitter dan Facebook je lah, untuk distribute something, untuk improvement ataupun semua knowledge.
Well, that's some of the immediate reaction that we've obtained from the people in Penang. We are at Mini Studio at Star Office right here for our GE13 Showdown. Our program is on social media election. One of the few phrases that was used by Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib Tun Razak to describe GE13 as being a social media election. And with us is social media personality, Mr. Tan Keng Liang, who is also Kedah Gerakan Youth Chief. Welcome to our main studio in Penang, Mr. Tan. Yeah, you are known as being very active on Twitter with 41,000 followers to date. Am I right?
Yeah.
How are you using and planning to use this media for the coming election?
The media, this new media is actually a way that we send out our views and we gauge the sentiments on the ground. What we can do is that on two sides, besides giving our views to the people, to give them alternate views, how they should vote, we can also gauge what their sentiment being on the ground so that we can deliver what they want. So I look at the two-pronged things on every.
Is it effective? How effective is it?
It is in some sense. Let me give an example. When Bersih wanted to hold a demonstration in the street, in some way there are people who agrees with Bersih's things that they want to implement on the political electoral reforms. But at the same time, that I noticed from the social medias like the tweets and the response that I get from Facebook, people don't agree as to the methods that they use to promote their agenda. So people don't want the violence, street demonstrations that lead to violence, chaos. So these are things that I realized. Therefore, I use that as a gauge, the sentiment of the people, and that's where I suggested also that you have to look it into a more peaceful manner, such as holding the rallies in stadiums.
But is it only during campaigning periods as such, that social media like Facebook and Twitter is actually used, and after that it sort of dies? Because that's what happened in 2008, yeah? Do you see it only being actively used by people like yourself, especially during campaigning period only?
To me, we are using it even before the campaigning period, because it's actually throughout the tenure of the government, because we want to know what the people want. That's why our Prime Minister, Dato Sri Najib, had a Twitter account much way before the current election is going to be.
And he had 1.3 million likes, and that's for PM, 428,000 about that for Anwar Ibrahim. Now, do you think this is the picture of our next government? Do you see that?
It shows the reality, how many people in the cyberspace, the so-called cyberspace, likes our PM. On the contrary, how much they liked Anwar Ibrahim as the opposition leader. So this is the reality that we have to accept now. More are leaning towards the success of One Malaysia concept. Therefore, you can see millions coming in to pour support for our Prime Minister.
Okay, we'll need to take a short commercial break, but before that, just to sum up this particular segment, you would think and also be of the opinion that Facebook and Twitter is one mode of campaigning which is very effective?
Yes, it is. It is. Even the President of the United States, Barack Obama, did that in his campaigning, and he was successful in that. This is part and parcel of a learning curve that we underestimate before 2008.
Okay.
And these are the things that we are doing that new generation people, they look into the social media as a tool to gain information what is happening in our country.
Yeah, because 2008 the opposition was more active on social media.
Indeed.
To promote their
Propaganda.
propaganda. Okay, we'll take a short commercial break. We'll come back and to find out more of the field in Kedah from our guest, Mr. Tan Keng Liang. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us on GE13 The Showdown at our mini studio right here in Penang. With us, we've been talking to Mr. Tan Keng Liang, who is social media personality and also Kedah Gerakan Youth Chief. Mr. Tan, how's the feel in Kedah? You've just come from there.
The feel in Kedah is a lot of people are quite sad as to what is happening under the administration of Pakatan Rakyat. What they have expected from PAS, from their slogan "PAS for all," now ended up being PAS policies to be forced upon all. And
so the Chinese are very unhappy about what's happening there, and what has been happening there. They voted for PAS in 2008, Mr. Tan.
They are worried. I'm not surprised of them being worried. What we have seen in Kelantan has repeated now in Kedah. People are quite angry as to what PAS has imposed policies that are unfair towards non-Muslim in Kedah. Like recently, just before Chinese New Year, the Kedah PAS government tried to impose policies to ban women from performing in public performance. And then songs that are not godly or advisory in nature are prohibited as well. Live bands are also banned in public performance, while dress code were subjected and to certain restrictions, such as you cannot show armpits, thighs, navel. So people are wondering during festivities like Chinese New Year or Deepavali, can they wear sari and cheongsam? Or do the design need to be amended?
But perhaps the opposition or Pakatan would be able to rectify all this before the elections or even during campaigning? Or do you see that there's already second thoughts that there will be a swing to be in from the Chinese voters especially?
People only trust them once. They promise fairness to all. They promise PAS for all, and they promise a lot of other things. If you fail to fulfill your pledge, what makes you think that people will believe you the next time? Therefore, Barisan Nasional always stress that janji ditetepati, that you need to fulfill your promise to everyone. Integrity, trustworthiness, that's where the crux of good political party.
You sound confident of having good chances in Kedah State.
Nothing is certain in politics. We may win, we may lose. But to me, in Kedah, we stand a good chance. On the side, we are well prepared on that. Not because that we have done a lot of good things, because we are opposition. We are in no position to actually implement projects in Kedah.
This is a fact?
Yeah, it's a fact that we have to accept.
So what
but
is it?
It's the own doing of Pakatan Rakyat, led by PAS in Kedah. They are making policies that are suicidal towards themselves. So if we are to win, I would say that it's actually their own doing, commit suicide with policies that is unfair to people.
But non-Malay voters are only about 20% in the state. So how is this going to change things?
This is the perception that Pakatan, especially PAS, like to bring out to justify their policies, extreme policies that is unfair to non-Muslims. They say Muslim being the majority, but facts being that cities like Alostar, 50%, 50% only are Muslims, while the other 50% are non-Muslims. Even should we say that it's 20-80 composition ratio, or we should not use that as a guideline to justify unfair policies towards non-Muslims. We have evolved from...
Because everyone is watching.
Yes, everyone is watching, everyone is affected. You have to be fair to everyone. That's why nowadays people are more accepting the one Malaysia concept, which is fair to everyone. It doesn't base on religion. It doesn't base on any race. So
is this really the feedback that you're getting?
It is. People are embracing one Malaysia. You can see shops. Even hair salons call themselves One Malaysia Hair Salon. They are capitalizing on the popularity of the One Malaysia concept. Who is capitalizing on the Pass for All concept? We don't see any shops calling themselves Pass for All or Kedai Runcit.
All right. On that note, Mr. Tan, when we are looking at the results of GE13, we probably would see a swing in a couple of states. But in Kedah, as far as Gerakan is concerned, have you carried out what you have actually pledged to do from the start, even being on the other side of the fence?
Like I've said just now, Gerakan and Barisan Nasional, we are opposition in the state. Federal side, we are the government. We can only assist the federal government to implement federal policies, such as the distribution of the BRIM, Bantuan Rakyat One Malaysia. We can help to gauge the sentiment of the people in Kedah, send the feedback to the federal so that they can implement what the people want. For us to say that we must implement projects in Kedah, people must realize that Kedah already under the jurisdiction of PAS and Pakatan Rakyat. So the non-developments of areas in Kedah are due to Pakatan and PAS. They have promised a lot of things. It's not happening. They have even said they're not going to raise water tariff. In 2008, they promised that in the manifesto. PAS did that. But they end up increased the water tariff up to 100% in year 2010, especially towards the poor.
Still bread and butter issues. Okay,
yes.
We'll check out the results, of course. GE13, the showdown. We'll wait for that, Mr. Tan. And of course, very active on your Twitter. We'll find out a lot more from Mr. Tan on his Twitter account. And to all of you who have been watching, we've been talking to Mr. Tan Keng Liang, who is Kedah BN Youth Chief, Gerakan Youth Chief, and also social media personality. Thank you so much.